Thanks, Jordan. Really appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. Really appreciate you coming out today. It's an honor to be here. My name is Greg. I lead the data center co-location side of the business for the Ignite team here. And I'm going to talk to you today about a couple things. First, some trends we're seeing in the market, and then we'll go through a timeline of capacity coming online in the next few years. So first, the trends. And the first trend I want to talk about is that this is an operator's market. Demand is far outpacing supply, and operators can pick and choose which customers they want to work with. And we're seeing three things come up when we introduce a customer to an operator. Number one is an LOA, a letter of authorization. This is a document that proves that we represent the customer. The operator wants to see this because they want to make sure that they're talking to the right people. Second thing is credit worthiness of the customer. The operator wants to make sure that the customer is well funded for the project that they're looking for. And number three is the application of the infrastructure. This does play a role in the deal. We've had a major data center operator tell us that they are no longer leasing to AI companies, so the application is important. But once we get through these three things and we get into site selection, and you'll probably hear me say this a few times today, capacity is selling very quickly. Week to week, we get updates from our operators on what capacity is no longer available. Once we get into this part of the sales cycle, when we're selecting sites, we help our customers move fast through this part. This is important, but we can secure capacity with an LOI or a letter of intent, and this allows a customer to do the proper due diligence on a site, like a site visit and so on. So these are the things that we're seeing in the market. This is the customer experience and part of the sales process, and we help our customers navigate through this so that way they can find the sites that they need. The second trend that I want to talk about is air cooling to liquid cooling. So as we may know, rack densities are increasing. Air cooling tops out at about 40 to 50 kilowatts per rack. You're spending millions of dollars on your infrastructure. Do you really want to be at the effective edge of air cooling? So liquid cooling is certainly an option. For example, the NVIDIA GB200 NVL72, which is a 72 GPU rack, requires about 120 kilowatts to operate, and it comes with integrated direct-to-chip liquid cooling. So this is the future. One more comment about liquid cooling: not all operators have the infrastructure installed for liquid cooling. So as a customer engages with an operator, it's important to understand if that infrastructure is there. If it's not, this can add time to the fit-out schedule, easily 3 to 6 months, depending on the operator and what they have to install. So this should be considered as liquid cooling is being considered. Those are just some comments about air cooling versus liquid cooling. The third trend that we're seeing is our customers are typically falling in one of three buckets. The first bucket is the easy button. This is a relatively small deployment, a couple hundred kilowatts or less. The customer knows their hardware very well, the application very well, they know the Colo market very well. They just want to give us requirements, have us come back with a few operators that can satisfy those requirements, pick the best one, deploy, and then move on to other things. They want the easy button, and we're happy to facilitate this transaction. The second customer that we're seeing needs like a tour guide. This is a larger deployment. This is a few megawatts, maybe 5, 10, 15 megawatts. The customer knows their hardware very well, but they're not sure what sites are available based on their deployment schedule. So they're looking to us to find the sites that fit them the best for when they want to deploy. This could be one contiguous site. It could be several sites with one vendor. It could be several sites across several vendors. It really depends on when they want to deploy and what's available in the market at that time. So this is what we call a tour guide customer. They really need help in finding the sites that best match their infrastructure and deployment schedule. The third customer that we're seeing is like a JV match. This is a very big customer, tens to hundreds of megawatts deployed over several years, and they're looking for a partner in this deal because the customer is going to put a lot of resources on the table. The vendor is going to put a lot of resources on the table, and they're going to have a shared vision as to what this data center or campus will look like approximately 5 years from now. And we know the type of operators that like these kinds of projects and execute well in them. We're happy to make those introductions and then help see that project through. So this is the JV match customer. These are the trends we're seeing. It's an operator's market, air versus liquid cooling, and the different types of customers that we're seeing. So we're happy to talk more about this. Please find us out in the lounge after this session, and we're happy to go deep on any of these topics or answer any questions you may have about what's happening in the market. So now let's turn to our capacity timeline. So what you see here, and I'll make two comments about this. Number one, this is a snapshot in time, and number two, this is only a portion of our inventory. Let me explain. The weekly task that my team goes out and executes is we are in the market looking for updates from operators we're currently working with on capacity, what has sold and what's still available and what's coming online. And we're also consistently looking for new operators, non-traditional operators that have great capacity to bring to our customers. So what you see here are capacity from the 10 to 12 well-known data center companies, plus a host of non-traditional operators that not many people know about that have fantastic facilities. And this takes weeks of time to come up with, and it's an ongoing process that my team does. And the reason that I say it's a snapshot is because a lot of our customers right now are pre-leasing for 2025 and 2026. So as we move through January, this is going to change drastically. So the recommendation is, if you're looking for capacity now for next year and the year after, now is a great time to shop because you will likely find exactly what you need. The second comment is that this is a portion of our capacity. And the reason I say that is because there's a good amount of operators that we know that have capacity, but there's no schedule tied to it just yet. They're looking for an anchor tenant, and so it's more like 12 months from sales order or 18 months from sales order to kick off the project. So we really can't put it up here because it doesn't have a defined timeline just yet. That's why it's a portion of our inventory. If you'd like to learn more about that type of capacity or what's up here on the slide, once again, please find us in the lounge after this session. We're happy to talk to you and go deep on any capacity that you'd like to learn about. So thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Let me now hand it off to Joe.